So I want to show you something really quick. I mean, this is a door seal for 71 to 74 B body. And right now, today, I can get one. You can get one. But here's the thing. And last week we talked about, 3 reasons Mopar parts are disappearing. And based on the responses you guys put in the comments and the amount of shares, most of you guys know something is wrong. And you just needed someone to kind of point it out. But so I'm not going to talk about the why again, because we now know why. Today I'm going to talk about the what. Specifically, 5 categories of parts you should be already looking for right now before they become parts that are not able to be found. Now, look, I'm not here to tell you to max out your credit card on, on car parts. Your significant other may not like that. That's not what this is all about. What I'm saying here is there's a difference between being reactive and proactive. Now, if you're being reactive, you're just scrambling. Proactive, you've planned things out and you're ready for any type of changes. And people that have been doing this for a very long time, like me, we buy stuff ahead. And I'm going to break it down into 5 categories, because right now, these are the 5 categories in importance that what you should be looking for specifically. Because not every part is equally urgent. But there are things here that there's some moves you're really going to need to make that before you can't make them at all, if you understand what I'm going for. Okay, category 1. I started off with this one. I want you to pay the most attention to this, because this is one that's very skittish. Rubber. Door seals, trunk seals, window channel felts, body grommets, firewall grommets, floor pan grommets, all those little seals and stuff you don't think about. And if anything, First Brand showed us that 2 rubber companies went away and are now getting restarted. All right, here's the thing about rubber. And it's just that it degrades. I mean, rubber is one of those things, even when you finish your car, it's going to go away. But that's not the biggest problem. It's the molds. And the tooling that makes these seals is very expensive. And when the manufacturer decides the demand is not high enough to justify retooling, because also the tooling wears out and there's no one wants to pay to replace it, the part is gone, done. And this has happened for a few parts already. And we're already starting to see it in specific B body and A bodies. Not all of them yet, but I've talked to a few guys, like my buddy who has a 67 A body. He's having a hard time getting a rear window seal for this car. I mean, this is a common piece. And it took him a couple of months to get it. Now, the more specific your car, the more rare the body style, the more urgent this is. The common E body stuff, your prime 68 to 70 B bodies, those are still very available from year one, Classic Industries, Soft Seal, all those marquee manufacturers. But when you buy it, buy the full kit, not just individual seals. And also check very closely what you're buying, because sometimes the vendors made these seals like many years ago, and they've been sitting on the shelf, and they actually can be already brittle by the time you get them brand new. And this is the highest priority of all. Please don't sit on this. All right, hold on. Before we go into electrical, because that's number 2, I want to make one thing clear. And I'm not talking about wiring harnesses, because wiring harness, that's a whole different conversation. I'm talking about like small stuff, like the switch. The stuff that, costs $12 when you don't need it. And of course, they'll cost $100 when you do, because that's the way life works. And voltage regulators, horn relays, turn signal switches, headlight switches, fan switches. These are not glamorous. Nobody makes a video, going about their horn relay. It's just not a thing. But these are exactly the parts that are very NOS dependent. There is no remanufacturing. Meaning the only supply that exists is the stuff that's been sitting in a warehouse since at the latest the 80s. And when it's gone, well, it's going to be gone. Reproductions exist for some of this, and if you're like me, you know the quality is all over the map. I've bought reproduction voltage regulators that lasted less than 6 months. I mean, that's an actual fact. I bought one of those, and then I bought other ones, and they go strong for years and years and years. You know what I mean? It's very inconsistent. Because inconsistent, my recommendation is always try to find NOS or NOS manufacturer of a part, even if you don't need it right now, because you probably will. So eBay, swap meets, estate sales, definitely car shows, big car shows. That's where the NOS electrical stuff still shows up. When you online set up alerts for this stuff to pop up, check them regularly. I found, a NOS voltage regulator in a box at a swap meet. I paid $25 for it. And that was $25 really well spent. All right, now category 3, and this one catches guys way off guard because, well, it's kind of boring. You take it for granted. Temperatures, and your engine sensors, the temperature sensors, that starter relay, vacuum advanced units, because I just had one go bad on me. Points and condensers, those are becoming kind of scary to find, especially if you're still running points, which there's nothing wrong with them, but this really speaks to you. Here's what matters specifically for Mopar. A lot of those sensors are just unique to Chrysler. And the thread pitch and the sending range, the connector, all of these things aren't universal. And it's just the way it is in the automobile industry. You can't just swap out a Chevy equivalent or a Ford equivalent and call it done. The aftermarket support for this stuff follows the same curve as everything else I've been talking about. It's there right now, but it's really not there. Not like Fords or Chevys. But the good news is that when you find most of this stuff, it really isn't that expensive. So this is a pretty easy one to argue for stockpiling, because you can put them in little cases and keep them neatly organized, but have them when you need it, because you're not talking about a huge investment. I mean, we're maybe 20, 30, $40 worth of stuff. And the part could save you from being able to use your car on a Saturday or just having it sit there not running. And basically buy 2. Seriously, if you're replacing your starter relay, which do burn up on Chryslers, buy 2 of them. The second one can sit in your little storage box. That is an insurance policy, plain and simple. Okay. This is where it gets real, because category 4 is drivetrain-specific, and every manufacturer is different. Because Chrysler's, if you have a 4-speed, it's an A833. And, those components, you have the Torque Flight 727 bands, and rebuild kits. You have your Dana 60. You have your 8 3/4 rear end axles. These components are very specific to Mopars. And here's the thing about drivetrain stuff. The 833, the 727, the Dana 60, 8 3/4, they're so Mopar specific and Mopar heavy applications that it's not like a TH350. That's a GM transmission. There are 400 vendors rebuilding those, because it's just that. It's just like a C4 transmission for Ford. The aftermarket support is massive for these things. And our stuff, it's a lot thinner if you haven't noticed. And because of the major mechanical components, when these fail, the cost is, it's pretty high. So I'm not saying, go out and keep a spare transmission. That's insane. I mean, you could. But I'm saying, if you have an 833, put a rebuild kit on the side, just in case. The same thing with a 727. Have a filter, a gasket, maybe a spare valve body, because you never know. If you got a Dana 60 or an 8 3/4 with a specific gear ratio, buy a set of, buy some extra carrier bearings, because actually the price of carrier bearings has gone up like 40% in the last 2 years. If you buy them now, you're going to need them later. And these aren't spontaneous purchases. You look at what you have, figure out where you're vulnerable, and then address the highest risk things first. And one more thing, the guys who know how to rebuild these transmissions, the people with that knowledge, they're going away too. And it's not just the parts, because building a 727 is a hell of a lot different than doing a turbo 400. If you have a Mopar transmission guy in your area, build a relationship with him, stop by, ask questions, because that is worth as much as having the spare parts to be able to fix it. Category 5, and this one, trust me, this one is very dear to my heart, and I want to be very straight with you about this. This is the one most guys put off. They don't think about it. Trim, emblems, and chrome pieces. Like this. Because this is for a 71 Charger SE. Nobody makes this. And if it is made, it gets done in short runs. These are hard to find. And here's the pattern I see all the time when a guy is doing restoration. You got your drivetrain, he does the body panels, he does the interior. It's all coming together. Car's getting ready to be driven. And he goes and looks for the quarter panel emblem. They're pitted, they're broken, they look like garbage. And then they are no longer available in reproduction. And now he has a gorgeous car with, a blank corner panel or a really ratty looking emblem sitting on that corner panel. And it looks terrible. And the frustrating part, the emblems were available 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and then they aren't. So, because emblems and trim pieces, they're not very high volume. And they're expensive to reproduce because they're still doing the old style of making, molds. They're very specific to each body and model year. If you could figure out what other applications you may help you. Like the Dodge on the front of my car is also the same Dodge that's on the back of a Dart. My SE emblems on my sail panels are the same ones that are used on a Challenger. The special edition was also used on an Aspen. These are things you need to know. When the reproduction vendors, though, when they start figuring out the cost and then the amount of sales, they may do a small run, maybe 50, 100 units. And this is true. And then that's it. So then, my recommendation is really simple. While you're doing the build, this is part of the planning process. Even if it's years from actually being driven anywhere on the street, find all the specific emblems and trim parts for your car. Go to swap meets, eBay, Craigslist, which isn't that big, but Facebook Marketplace, Mopar forums. Don't wait until you actually really need it, because by then, it's going to be way too late. Okay, so now let's just all bring this together. Because I don't want to walking away from the video finding, like you need to spend $1,000 tomorrow, because that's not the point of this. Because this is how I would approach it. Figure out what you actually have, okay? Before you buy anything, either on your phone, on your computer, on a notepad, a notebook, write out what you actually have, the rubber, the electrical, the drivetrain stuff, put it all down so you know where you are rich with parts. 2, buy consumables first. The seals, the gaskets, any sensors you're replacing on that engine, things that just wear out because, well, you're using the car. They're low risk, but they are highest value. 3, buy NOS electrical when you can. And especially if you find it at a fair price, don't even think about it, just buy it. Don't overpay for it, but don't walk past it either. So if you're going to a major show like Nationals, Mopar, Carlisle, even big regional shows, seriously, if you see these things, try to find a way to buy them. 4, make a long-term list of trim and drivetrain stuff. These are bigger investments, but having the list means you know what you're looking for next time you're at a swap meet and you have the extra cash in hand. What's the one part you're specifically worried about finding for your car? Drop it in the comments below. I generally want to know because I have a car that has hard to find stuff on it too. And honestly, your answers are going to help me, you know, probably make other content for this channel, because obviously we're all in this boat together. Now, if you got a guy in the, in the classic cars, it doesn't have to be Mopars, but it helps if it is. And you do, share this video with them. This is the kind of thing that's worth knowing before you need a part and you can't find it. And always remember, when that car is done, take it out, because you'll make someone's day and it'll probably be your own. And I'll catch you in the next one.